So how do you like the new drip? I don't know if you see sooner, just your baby sooner needs your. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm doing this special because it's holidays, and I figured, what if I took control of the NCAA and I had the power to not only rank the conferences, in my opinion, but rewind the conferences to the way they should be. So I've got that for you. We're going to be doing the ranks first, and then we'll move on to the big one because the other one is going to need a lot of explaining. So I need to do less explaining first. So if I were to take control of the NCAA, this is what I would do. I would have a preseason ranking that is based off of grading of historical accuracy. So however, how good of a program your team is. Now, when I mean historically, I mean have some teams flourished, have some teams diminished, and whatnot. But it's basically how your story has impacted college football, and I think that is the right thing to have. So if you see schools like Vanderbilt, not on here. If you see teams like Vanderbilt or anything like that ranked in weird places, I'm going off of historical impact. So historical record. So anyways, here it is. Here is what it looks like. This is, in my opinion, what it should be. So in D tier, you have all of your programs that are good. They should be good, but they have fallen off a lot. So you have your Baylors, your Clemson, your LSUs, your TCUs, Florida State, Auburn, Missouri, Florida. Florida is a shocker. Who else? Penn State, OSU. Some of these used to be up here, and now they're down here. One second, I gotta use the restroom. Alright, here we go. We are back. Wrong thing. There we go. So as I was saying before, some of these teams. So like I said, so I'm sure D tier. I have note. This is how D tier should look. This is how D tier should look. Okay. You should have either teams that were programs at one point falling off big time. So then you move up to C tier and you have your teams that are on the rise, but they fall short every time. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Tennessee, and Michigan. Definitely these two teams, Michigan and Tennessee. And then you have your B tier. So your B tiers, these are teams that have been in the program for a while. They know what they're doing. They need a lot more help. So Washington, Cincinnati, Virginia, Louisville, Iowa, Miami, SMU, Pitt, UCLA, like four. And these teams could put up a fight with any of the A and A tier teams, but definitely not the S tier teams. But they can put up with anyone in the league. And then you have your A tier. So these are the teams that you probably will recognize: Notre Dame, Oregon, USC, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's only because of how impactful they are, again, the historical impact of the landscape. So you have Vanderbilt, you have CA, Oregon, and then you have your Georgia Tech, BYU, OU, Texas, Georgia, and Alabama, and Ole Miss. So this is how it should be. These are how the team should be ranked. You have your Power Four conferences up here in the front. You have your Power Four Big Ten. You have your Power Five conferences here, with Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Notre Dame being the fifth because they're part of the FBS Independence. But other than that, you have 1, 2, 3. So you have, and then so you have, and look at this book. You have each has at least two teams from a conference. Two Big 12. Has at least has the same amount of teams from each conference. So you have 3 teams from the Big 12, 3 teams from you have. Sorry, up here. Well, this is only applying to A tier. I'm sorry. As I was saying, this only applies to A tier. You have 4 SEC. You have 5 SECs. You have 6 SECs. You have 1 Big 10, 1 Georgia Tech, 1 Independent, 1 Big 10. So Big 12, ACC, Independent, Big 10, and then Big 10 here. But you get 2 Big 10s because of Ohio State up here. These guys up here, they are up here in the continent. So here it is. And so historical impact, the reason I have Texas Tech up here is because of their 2025 season. But you can see right here. Hold on, Nate. Anyway, as I was saying, I just had to watch that play. This is how I believe it should. And then you have your juggernauts, your Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, and Texas Tech. Now you can argue any of these teams, but for right now, for what we have in this time frame, this decade from 2000 up to now, these feel like good rankings for each team. Anyways, piss off a lot of people in the comments, but I do not give a fuck. Yes, I'm cussing because this is a non-professional stream, so fuck you. In a good way. Right? No, what am I saying? Okay. Moving on. Oh dear. Okay, just turned off the internet again. Anywho, here's the. Okay. Oh my god, what is this? Not what I asked for. Give me my revamped conferences. Here it is. Here we go. Alright. Let's look at this. And before you say anything, yes, the SEC is big for a reason. Let's go through it. So I group these based off of their schools. So, for instance, if you are a Texas school, you'll be grouped with all the other Texas schools. Nothing doesn't take an Albert Einstein to figure out why. So let's go through this. We're gonna do this manually. We're not gonna look at this. We're just gonna look at Conference USA. So Conference USA, you have Southern Miss, Ohio, Georgia Southern, Middle Tennessee, Old Dominion, UTSA, Bowling Green, North Carolina. So these are the bottom barrel of teams of the FBS level. So these teams would probably be, able to fight each other and not have to worry about going up against teams like Army, Navy, Air Force, and all those, So that's what I grouped it by. But most of these schools, you can see they're like extensions of the American. I'm sorry, they're extensions of the FBS, but they're like the alt schools. So like they're rival schools essentially. So like Ohio and Ohio State is a rivalry. So you could just say like these teams would be Conference USA's version of the Ohio State, Tennessee, Tulane, Rutgers. You get the idea. Okay, moving on. Moving along. You have the MAC. So the MAC is teams that would be able to play, that would be able to play these teams down here and essentially be rivals. So Louisiana, Boston College, Eastern Kentucky, NC State, whatever, Marshall, East Carolina, UTEP, Kent State, Kennesaw State, Kent State and FAU. Next up, we have, this is, in my opinion, one of the more controversial ones because it's a bunch of teams that should be in Big Ten and all that, but are not. But in my opinion, sometimes you got to look at the geography to learn. So the Mountain West, these are the teams that, in my opinion, would be the mountain ranges. So you have your Penn States, your New Mexicos, your Mountaineers, Akron Mountaineers, Bobcats, Miami, UNLV, Boise State. No, I mean Sunbelt is this is where the controversy begins because I have a lot of these teams. In my opinion, these are Southern style teams. So where the SEC is the big dogs, this would be like your grandma's games. Like these would be where your bowl games would be most likely. So Troy, San Diego, and we should have some interesting matchups too. Like you could get Troy and James Madison again and rematches. San Diego State and Toledo, UAB and Arkansas State. You get some pretty cool matchups. Next up, the shortest one out of them all is the American Conference. These are the teams, in my opinion, who are just America. So obviously, if it's American Conference, the name's American, gonna put Army, Navy, and Air Force in there. Hawaii, because it's technically not an FBS school, because it's not a part of the states. But it is an American state, so it's a part of the American. And Tulane, because Tulane Green Wave is originally was the founding member, I believe, of the American. Correct me if I'm wrong. We'll get to the SEC in a moment. We got a bigger thing to tackle. The Pac-12, it makes sense. You have your worst teams. You have some of the worst teams ever, and then you will have obviously the super toilet bowl of the century, Oregon State and Washington State. We'll get to the SEC because it's a big one. The ACC is gonna look a lot different because. One second, I gotta go to the. Oh yeah. Also, if I changed because I got a bit uncomfortable in the OU shirt. I'll probably wear it for tomorrow's stream. Anyways, the ACC is going to be a bit controversial, but these are the teams who I think are the who would fit that bill. So you have Memphis, Wake Forest, Stanford, Louisville, North Carolina, Duke, California, at Syracuse, and Nevada. So these are teams that are probably in the middle part of America, and so they're essentially hold on. Let me scroll down a bit. They are essentially extensions of the American. So you'll still have teams like Memphis and Tulane. All right, let's tackle the Big 12, and then we'll get to the big gun. We'll get to the big daddies. So the Big 12, these are the teams, in my opinion, who founded the entirety of the Big 12. And we're leaving out teams that were previously in the Big 12 and just going with teams only that are currently in the Big 12. So no OSU, no Oklahoma, no Texas, no UCF, none of that. These are teams that are currently in there who have at least some merit to being the reason this exists. And then you also have 3 new additions to it. You have, I believe, 3 new teams added to that. So you have obviously you have Iowa State, BYU, Arizona, Cincinnati, USC, Kansas, Baylor, Kansas State, Arizona State, Iowa. However, now you have also some teams that are missing are Texas Tech. Don't worry. But now you have 3 new teams. You have UCLA from the Big Ten, Utah State, and Central Michigan. Because Charlotte, Michigan. So I think it's Central Michigan. The reason is because these teams are in the middle part of America. So these are teams. Baylor is obviously a Texas school, but we're going to keep some of the founding members here because it keeps that conference together. In my opinion, the Big 12 should only be teams that matter. So you have some of the big teams that matter. I also made a different. I'm going to show you another one where I made them, but they were all the best of the best. But anyways, I'll show you another one. That'll be tomorrow for the episode. Make sure you subscribe and see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be all dressed up and ready to go. Anyways, next up we have one of the big controversial ones. This is going to cause a lot of people in the comments to rave. Let me explain my case. So the Big Ten, there's a lot of these teams stayed the same. Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Colorado, Northwestern, Oregon, Minnesota, Rutgers, Wisconsin, Maryland, Washington. All those teams in Michigan State too. They all stay the same. But now we have these are teams who who basically these are the I'm going to say teams that deserve to be able to play higher level competition, such as, and you'll notice 5 new teams in this: Virginia, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, Colorado State, and then you'll see some bonus ones like Notre Dame and Temple, and then this guy right. And so, in my opinion, I think, and also in my opinion, I just put Notre Dame in the conference because we're not doing independence at all. I think there shouldn't be any independent conferences. You're either in a conference, or you're either in a conference, or you go to the D1 level. But we have some crazy matchups here though, like Ohio State and Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, obviously. And then you get Colorado State. You get Washington, Northwestern, Oregon, Virginia, Oregon, Pitt, Notre Dame. You get some cool rivalries in here and some cool storylines that could come out. And that's all I care about. But now the Big Daddy. There's going to be a lot of teams in here that will shock you, but it makes sense. So these are the teams in the South. So this was the easiest to sort out because it's just every team in the South. And you've got some incredible rivalries here. But let me just go top to bottom. You have Oklahoma, OSU. I'm sorry. So the teams that remain that are still here from before are Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, Georgia. And actually most of these teams. So you're going to have a lot of these in here. But let me just go from top to bottom actually. Oklahoma, OSU, Texas, Alabama, South Florida, Louisiana Tech, A&M, Georgia, Houston, Florida State, Clemson, UCF, Tulsa, North Texas, Georgia Tech, ECU, Vanderbilt, South Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, TCU, Missouri, Mississippi State, SMU, Auburn, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia State, Utah, LSU, Kentucky, Nebraska, Fresno State, Miami, and Texas Tech. And that was a mouthful. So the new teams in here would be USF, Louisiana Tech, Houston, TCU, Florida State, South Alabama, ECU, Georgia Tech, North Texas, Tulsa, UCF, Clemson, SMU, Georgia State, Nebraska, and then Fresno State, Miami, and Texas Tech. So these are the teams in the South. So you have and what we get is, look, we can finally get this matchup again. We've been waiting for years, and if I was the committee, this is what I would be my first-hand priority: getting these teams back. So, reunion at last. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma reunite at last. But you got, look at these matchups. You look at, there's so many cool matchups here. Georgia Tech and Georgia. Florida State, USF and Florida State. I'm going to name you some of the big matchups that come in this. Oklahoma and Clemson, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Oklahoma, no, you see, it was basically a lot of Oklahoma teams. But you can get Alabama and Oklahoma. You can get Tennessee, LSU, not Tennessee, Vanderbilt again. Then you can get A&M and Louisiana Tech, ECU and Tulsa. You can get USF and Oklahoma State. You can get Missouri and Florida State. You can get Alabama and Florida. You can get these teams right here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So from this column here, you already have some insane matchups. A Bedlam, Alabama, Texas, Florida, South Florida, A&M, and Louisiana Tech, Georgia and Houston. So you get some pretty cool matchups too. But then you get down here and you get to this, and you just kind of like, wow, these are brand. You have Ole Miss, South Carolina, Ole Miss, TCU, and there's so much parity here. This would be the best conference to watch. And yes, you could finally get Texas Tech and Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas A&M back together. The gang is gonna be back together. The Big 12. Oh yeah. Also, we'll just do this for Oklahoma State for right now. But yeah, you get the groups back together. So the teams that left the Big 12. Sorry, not Big 12. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just actually circle these. I forgot about Oklahoma State. The gang's back together, folks. This is the SEC. This is how we should do conferences. You have everything's back to normal. We're going back to normalcy in this. I do not give a fuck. We don't need all these independent stuff. We just need this. Think about the matchups. Alabama, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Utah State. Vanderbilt could go on a run and take on most of these teams now that they have Clark Lee. But there you go, folks. That's what there's your realigned conferences. Look, I'm telling you right now, we need this right here. The SEC would be probably the biggest paid conference in the land. That's how it should be. One conference to rule them all, and everyone else plays for the SEC. No, I'm not an SEC biased person. I'm just saying, if you want Bedlam back, you bitches, you just shut your damn mouth, because Bedlam's coming back in my world if I was controlling the conferences. But that is near here or there. Jokes aside though, I'm excited to show you guys this because I think it needs to be shown for you. So I can find it. I guess I can find it. I cannot find it. So, anyways, but there you go, folks. See you tomorrow. I am the ruler of the conference.